All right, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to come in and do a quick midweek report. So this is the midweek report. I'm the Wall Street Yardie. As before, anything we talk about here is strictly informational, educational purposes only. I'm gonna go through the market, talk about a couple things here real quick. Try to keep it short and sweet since it's the midweek. Just kind of see how our lines have been progressing since last Sunday, and then we can go through and see what's up in the market. So here we go. All right, so since we last spoke, we've been deep in a war with Iran. So, but after a couple days, we've gotten some good positive stories come through, right? So we have good jobs report today. We had the fear and greed index is still on fear. So, the market is still being driven by fear. So that, like we were talking about on Sunday, just have to be a little careful. But, we had a nice move in Bitcoin today. This was due to a crypto bill that is being discussed in Congress. So they're thinking that's going to help drive some Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a big surge, something like 6-7% up today. And then here you see the market is feeling like the war is going well. So, investors are jumping back in. That's the story. That's the narrative they're trying to, push on us. One little quick promo. We have a new app coming. So the Wall Street Yardie app is on its way. I just want to give you a quick snapshot of what the dashboard, or part of the dashboard, what that's going to look like. We're going to have some picks in there, some different stocks that you could look at based on quality fundamentals and value investing. So if you're picking something at quality, and also if you're getting a good price. So that's going to be the key to the Wall Street Yardie app. So pay close attention to that. For the app, so when it's launched, you get notified. So you can do that here, www.wallstreetyardie.com. And as you can see on the dashboard is yellow, right? So we have sideways trend going on. This is what we've been talking about this whole time. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's what we're looking at here. So let's jump right into the charts. What we have tonight. After Sunday, we had Monday we had a little down day, but as you can see here, this is a green candle, right? So we started way down here. The market dropped early pre-market. And then pushed all the way back up. The next day we dropped even further. And one thing I want to pay attention to here is, remember what we drew these lines here, and we had these lines here for our week. You notice the market dropped right to the line. It peaked right through a little bit, but if you notice here, back in December, we had a very similar low. So if I come here and drop another line, you'll see that we kind of matched up to this December low here. We peaked a little bit lower than that, but the market dropped all the way down and then bounced right back up. So the buyer stepped in and just started pushing it back up. And today we had a nice follow through of yesterday. So now we're right back in our range. Again, there's not much to do here. You're in the middle of nowhere. Our target, if you want to set a target, is going to be right there at 696, 698 level at the top, right? So the top of the range. Until we break out above this, you cannot call this a bull run. So there's no more running of the bulls until we break through this. We need to get some momentum. We need to see the volume, which the volume is doing very well last few days. A lot of that was driven by the fear of the war. So you got to be careful, even though that the candles are green, the volume is green. And we're seeing some upward momentum. We got to really pay attention to what's going to happen to price as we get up here to this ceiling, this resistance level at 697, 698. Okay, so that's the SP. The next one is the QQQ, so the Nasdaq 100. Similar pattern, same thing. Came in, pulled down, got right back down to right back to our levels. So our levels are holding, and then we bounce back up right back into the range. So we're still dealing with a little sideways action here, just like we had on the SPY. We didn't dip down to this other low, so that's good. So the buyers are holding on. So the bulls are fighting, right? But they haven't won yet. Move over to the DIA. The story here is a little different. We talked about this as well. This one has been in a big downtrend ever since we hit that high of the Dow 50,000, right? So we pulled back down, and this one took the biggest hit out of all of them this week with the war news. We pulled way down below. If you can see here, we actually came down to this low. So I'm going to go ahead and draw us another line there so that we can keep track of that, to know that we had some action going on there. So I'll change that to a quick yellow here, so we know that we drew that there. So that's our new low we have to watch. It also matches up with the high that we had here. We also had a little support action here as well as here. So this is a significant line as well. So I'm glad to see we got down here. They bought it back. We started bouncing back up. We have a very small up candle here. So maybe we're bumping up on some resistance. Maybe the DIA gets stuck in this lower range or lower half of the range. So let's keep an eye on that over the next couple of days and see how we end the week. Okay. All right. So next one is the IWM. So with the IWM, stayed in our range for the most part. We dipped down a little bit lower. Remember, IWM is smaller stocks, right? So a lot of these stocks don't make any money. These companies don't make any money, so they're a lot more volatile. So they're a lot more at risk when it comes to adversity in the market or volatility in the market. So you'll see them move a little bit more wildly, and that's kind of what you see here. So we got down. We actually drew this as the dash here as a temporary maybe kind of area, and that's exactly where we came down to yesterday. And then today we bounced up and back into the main range here. So we're watching this 267 level. We got to break above that, and then again we have a little overhead resistance after that, even around 271. So if you're trading these smaller stocks, IWM, Russell 2000, be very cautious of these levels. You're going to want to pay attention to them because, you know, until, like I said before, until we break out above these, you're really just going to be stuck in this area and you're going to be losing time with your money. What we're looking at here is gold. So we always take a look at the gold futures. Gold futures trade overnight. So we want to see the smoothness of the chart versus looking at like the GDX or GLD. Those will trade. The pattern of the chart will look the same, but you'll see a lot more gaps on the GDX. So if I switch over to that real quick, you'll see what I'm talking about here. So the GDX, you see there's a lot more gaps here. There's a lot of things going on this particular chart. We had some sub levels here that I was marking earlier, but as you can see, we have a lot of gaps between the days because we have overnight. Sometimes overnight, what happens is the price moves in a big way. And you can see that by when we go back to our gold chart, it did like this big down move on the GDX. This happened overnight, so there'll be a big gap here on this day. All right, so that's what we're looking at there for gold. So gold today kind of was a little, you know, little sideways, not much action going on. Most people were getting back into the main market where the money was moving in the main market. So gold had a pull down a little bit earlier in the week, and then we now have this little candle here that yesterday that we were trying to get going. Actually, this was on Wednesday. Today we're trying to get going here, but we really didn't. But again, gold is running overnight, and it looks like it's heading to the upside here. So it looks like we're getting back into this up area. This support level seems to be holding. So pay attention to maybe gold hitting 5,400 here in the next few days, and we can see what might happen, or maybe even up to early next week. So Sunday we'll check again, see where we are, see where we think this might go, and then you can pay attention to what we have going on there. Quick check over to silver. Silver, the silver is always the more volatile one when we reviewed this earlier. Again, we took a nice move down. Very much the same as gold. It went a little sideways. So it looks like the market is kind of rotating or moving out of commodities like gold, silver, copper, those types of things. Oil is a completely different story, as you may imagine, given everything that's going on in the Middle East. So oil is still running, but gold and silver, it's kind of taking a little pause here. So we want to pay attention next couple of days, see what transpires out of this one. The one that's kind of interesting today was Bitcoin. We had that news, like we showed earlier in the video, where there's a new a law that they're discussing around crypto and maybe not taxing your crypto if you spend it, right? So that's something we got to look at. With that news, Bitcoin took a big move up today. Looks like 6.5% almost, and then it's trading here overnight. Looks like it's starting off a little weak, but we'll see what happens in the morning. Bitcoin could go a lot higher. Right now, Bitcoin is in a very funky place. As you can see here, there's not much action if you look back in time, in this area. We just kind of flew right through between this 81 and this 70. So we'll have to see if Bitcoin finds some resistance inside of this zone, maybe here at the 79,000 level. That might be one place, or maybe even here at 76. So if we can get through those two, this little area here where it kind of took a pause, then we certainly can see Bitcoin going right to 81. And at that point, we maybe get resistance. It might pull back. If the news continues, of course, we can always see Bitcoin fly back through these levels as well. So pay attention to that. If you're trading, if you're a Bitcoin trader, you're trading in and out of Bitcoin, then these are some levels to watch, right? So it's maybe a good place to consider buying, given that they broke through the level. We did it very strongly with very high volume. So that's very good momentum. And then, you know, your target might be right there at that 81. If you hit that 81, then, you know, then that's pretty good trade, right? So let's say we got in here, do a little tool action, right? Using my trading view profit tool. Here you can see if I mark up the 81 as my target here, we get a nice, you know, if we made our stop loss, you know, this little level here, and then we target, you know, 81,000. Let's pull that up a little bit there. This 81,000. Then you can see we have like a 1.5 to 1 ratio, meaning for every dollar that you bet, if it does hit 81, you're going to make 1.5. So, you know, not the most favorable thing when you look at it, to be honest. Your win rate has to be very high if that's the type of ratio you're looking at. You need to be winning maybe 70%, 80% of your trades if you're going to take that kind of bet. You want to almost see, you know, where you're going to get like a 3 to 1 type situation. Really, if Bitcoin can get up to 93, then this would be a good bet, right? Because at this point, you're going to be making 3 for every 1, right? So that's something you want to think about if you're going to be trading Bitcoin. I don't trade Bitcoin. I invest in Bitcoin. I buy and hold. So maybe looking to buy some more here just to add to the position. Maybe, you know, dollar cost average my position down. Next one is Ethereum. Same kind of motion here. Not as big a move. Well, actually 7%, a little bit bigger than Bitcoin. But the catch with Ethereum here is, you know, if we look back to the left, you could see we had a support level here. Way back in July of last year. This was also another breakout level if we go further back to April of last year. So coming back to Ethereum, you see after today's big move up, Ethereum kind of faded. It didn't continue up like Bitcoin to break over the resistance line. It pulled back off of it, and it's still below it here. So until I see it close above this line, I'm not getting excited about it. I'm not thinking that there's going to be momentum, even though we had a nice big candle, good volume. I want to see that continuation tomorrow and see what transpires out of that. XRP is even worse. It didn't really participate too much. You see, it just stayed right in its range. It did have a 5% day, but that 5% really didn't make any difference on the chart. We're still right here in this zone. So again, XRP, there's not much to deal with. Like we mentioned, we had our levels here, 150 and 110 below. So those are the areas we want to watch. If it breaks and closes below, above or below those, that's where you might want to, you know, go long or short. Right? So that's the end. That's what I wanted to get through today. Just update you on kind of where we were. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And then also don't forget to sign up for the Wall Street Yardie, www. Wall Street Yardie app. We have some great blog articles out there. So if you're interested in learning about options, you're interested in learning about investing, check out the blog on the wallstreetyardie.com. And thank you for watching. Catch you on Sunday.